Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. So excited to be here. Today, we're going to be really getting into the nitty gritty of how committed you are to a six-figure year. How committed are you to a six-figure year? How committed are you to a multiple six-figure year? When you think about saying the words out loud, like, I want to make $100K a year, $100,000 this year, how does that feel in your body? Not even looking at it from a perspective of like, how do I do it? Like, yes, we can reverse engineer. Yes, we can see how much we have to make monthly, how much we have to charge, all this kind of stuff. Yes, it's very logos. It's very logical. That's the business strategy. And we're going to get into the brand strategy versus the business strategy today because it is really important foundational aspect to how we go and build a six-figure brand or a multiple six-figure brand in business. And so, but the first part that people always forget, it's like, yes, let me give you all of the strategy. Let me understand what a brand and a business strategy is. But we can't even wrap our nervous system around saying out loud, I am going to make over $100,000 this year, or over $200,000, or over $500,000 this year. I'm going to make $500,000 this year. I'm going to make $1 million this year. So the reason why I'm asking you this first before we get into any of the strategies is because I want you to feel what goes on in the body when you say these things out loud, when you declare it. Because when you declare it, you declare your truth out loud. That's what our throat chakra is for. It's like, oh, we're going to declare the truth. And if we can't even say it out loud, if we get an interesting sensation within the body, I want you to know that all your feelings in the body are messages from you and from the universe. What are those messages? What are they trying to say? They are telling you of what you believe you are capable of. They are telling you your relationship to who you are, your relationship to money, and it's telling you who you are. So if I'm having a quote unquote negative sensation in the body, and I had this huge conversation already on one of my IG lives under why a vision is so important. And so I won't go into that too much here. So go on to my IG live, find out why the vision is so important, because that's in and of a podcast of itself, and it's so good. And I might even just post it on here because it's just juicy, why the vision is so important. And not just for your business, but for your identity, for you. I'm not going to get into it, like I said, but it's hard not to because it's just so juicy, the information. It's like so much free content here. You guys, we should be making so much money already. Let's go. Okay, so go on there if you want to listen to that aspect of it. But if you understand, so I'm just going to talk about like a little part of it. It's like when you understand the feelings that are going within the body and you're understanding like, okay, let me get really aware of this, why I'm feeling the sensation in the body. It's just telling me what I believe I'm capable of. And if it feels like a quote unquote negative sensation in the body where it's like, that's impossible, the story that comes up when we have a feeling, a thought, a story gets, provoked into the brain. And then we start hearing our inner critic, inner judge, our inner coach, because our inner critic ends up turning into our inner coach. It's like when we have this part of us telling us, oh, well, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, or you can't do that, or you're not good enough for that, or something of that nature, we tend to believe it, and then that's how we know, and then it perpetuates more of that sensation in the body to tell you not to move or to tell you to move. So it's either to move toward it or to move away from it. So whatever action you're going to take toward this goal, let's say you're like, I'm going to make $100,000 this year. And then in your body, it has like a negative, like a feeling that's like, no, we're not. We can't do that. There's no way. How? The how we'll get into, like I said, brand strategy versus business strategy. But the how doesn't work if you don't already even have an inkling, even just a 1%, an ember of a flame that believes that you are capable of doing it. Because at the end of the day, whatever it's like whatever you believe, you will create evidence for. If I'm going to open my eyes to believe that I can do it, I'm going to create evidence for it. If I'm going to close my perception and tell myself I can't do it, I'm going to create evidence for that as well too. So it's like whatever you believe, you perceive, right? And that's going to create my reality. And I'm going to move in whatever that reality looks like. And so if I'm going to challenge, now we love a challenge. The body truly wants you to challenge it because it does want to move. Like our whole human experience is for evolution. We're not meant to stay stuck. We're not meant to stay the same. That's so caveman times. we are meant to evolve and grow. And honestly, for your mindset, just for your mindset alone, psychology says that like if you don't have something that you're super excited about that's in the future, you're going to be living a half life in the present moment. And so we want a future that's so exciting and so expansive and so kind of scary, but kind of exciting and kind of all the things. It's like makes you feel all mixture of emotions. We want that because it's meant that we're growing and that we're evolving and we're changing. And that's the point. And so if you are, if you're having certain sensations around your goal, get clear with it. The more you get to know yourself, the better you will be to understand what it is you want and what you don't want. I mean, if you don't know what you want right now, figure out what you don't want. And then you can play on the flip side. I always talk about this in InkSpired Academy. It's like, yeah, you might not know what you want. You might not have clear understanding of what your values are, but look around. What pisses you off? What does someone say that you just don't like? When someone says the tattoo industry is oversaturated, that doesn't feel good in my body because I don't believe it. So that's not what I believe. So what do I believe? I believe that there's abundance and that there's plenty for everybody to go around, and that we shouldn't be hoarding our information, that we should be giving this information, and we should be on the forefront of change. As Angel said in my last podcast, we should be on the forefront of change so that we can create evolution within the industry and change the things that we don't like and keep the things or expand the things that we do. So for me, yes, of course. And for me, when someone's like, oh, here's the exact strategy, 1, 2, 3 of building a successful 6-figure business, I'm like, yeah, cool, that's one strategy. Or when someone says, this is the only way you can build this, it's the only way to do it, there's no other way, you suck if you don't do it this way, like pain point marketing, I don't believe in that. I also don't believe there's only one way. I believe, for me, that my strategies, all the strategies that I have in my back pockets, all the tactics that I have on how to do something, I have in my back pocket. I love learning new tactics because then all those tactics give me a ways to make sure that I'm doing the thing that I'm doing either more efficiently, better, evolving in my artwork. When I think of like my skills in tattooing, there are a million different ways to get the same result in a tattoo. I could do the line work first and then do the black and then do the color, or I could act like a printer and do some of the line work, all the color, all the black, or I could do it any which way I fucking want. I could start from the top down. I could go from the top up. I could start from the middle and start this. It's like I can get the same result. It just depends on how I believe I want to get that result. But if I don't know myself well enough to pick and choose that myself, of course I'm gonna falter and have disbelief in myself and kind of be wary and wobbly about my processes and allow other people's information about what they know or what is right and what is wrong and let that infiltrate what I believe. And so this is why we have to get really, really clear on what it is what's real and true within the body in order to build these massively successful businesses. Okay, so once we kind of get through that part, we get to the part where we're like, okay, this is the goal. How do I feel about this goal? Do I feel like I'm capable? Don't know how. All right. You're like, okay, I feel like I'm capable of this. This is hairy, scary. Kind of the scarier, the better. We don't want to disrupt the nervous system too much. Really, really depends. And so this is why I offer one-on-ones with my inner circle artists and my inner circle creative entrepreneurs, is because I get to know you in such a way through the chakra system, how you understand your own life, what are your beliefs, what are the limiting things, how you work, where your energy comes from, all of these things to kind of depict on how we can go about strategically moving through your business in a way that is aligned for you. So if I know that something's going to dysregulate your body in a way that's out of alignment and could make you, instead of move forward, make you move backward, I'm not going to make you do it. You know what I mean? So it's really it's really about being really intentional about what you know about yourself. So if you are like, Reese, I want to work with you, but this isn't the right time or whatever, I want you to be very, very aware of who you are, because like my big goals might scare the fuck out of people, but my big goals to others, they're like, yeah, because I put myself in rooms around people that do things that are outlandish, that make the impossible to some possible. And that's why I feel like it's so important to have community, because when you're in a room with someone else that's done something that you want to do, or when you're in a room where someone has something that you have that you want, they're going to normalize having that thing. They're going to make you feel expansive enough to be like, yes, I actually can have this and I totally deserve it. And so that's why I say, invest in mentors, man. Like, I have so many mentors. It is so crazy how much time, money, energy, and attention I pour into my mentorship so that I can make 10x qualitative identity shifts and leaps in my business. I just high. That's what I believe in. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody can convince me otherwise, but you can convince yourself anything. And so that's, but I hold conviction in that. But I know me well enough to know that. So it's like, I'm willing to spend $90,000 a year on mentorship and programs and all this stuff. Some people aren't willing to do that. You don't have to do that. You can grow on your own. It's just dependent on the level of how fast you want to grow and how fast, and what you believe is right for you. That's why getting to know yourself is so fucking important, because then you're not just hearing me, what I have to say, and being like, I need this. It's like, I want this. I don't need anything, but I want this because I know I can do this. That's empowered leadership. That's empowered moves. That's like the empowered yes and no, instead of, oh, I need this. I need this. That's become like a needy thing. And then if something falters, or if you can't get yourself there, then you blame everything outside of you for not getting you there. And so it's a really powerful sovereign move when you're like, I want this, but I don't need it. Because I know I don't need anything to grow to do crazy things within my business, but I do it because I've seen the result in it. And every time I do something like that, it's like I 10x what my income, my freedom, what my inner and outer wealth, my abundance, my joy, my happiness, my relationships, everything gets 10x'd. My team, everything. And everybody that my work touches, their lives get 10x'd as well in some capacity. And that's like gangster, because I've made this business bigger than me. Okay, now I'm getting off track. I apologize. So when we get into the knowing of who we are, right? We get into the goal. We understand what the goal is. Bam. Brand strategy versus business strategy. Everybody wants to put their attention on business. You need both. But what makes the most sense for the people and what makes the most sense for me is like, how do I want to deliver it to the people? So that's like, we get to create the strategy on what makes the most sense for how to deliver it to the people. That's a brand. Okay, most people are winging their brand strategy and doing what everybody else is doing. Okay, so when we're in the brand, we are focusing on building a unique and recognizable identity, right? So I hold so much conviction. I literally, in the first 14 minutes of this podcast, I'm talking to you about what I believe in and how I figured that out. Oh, what don't I like? What do I like? These are bringing me my values. This is my brand values, because since we are personal brands, you are the face of your brand. Your tattoos are not, because your tattoos can change. Your tattoos can evolve. I could do watercolor, and then I could do realism, and then I could do Japanese traditional. The tattoos are not the brand. That shifts and changes and morphs. You are the brand. The tattoos are an extension of you, the brand. This is why, like, I love helping multi-passionate creative entrepreneurs, because, like, for me, tattooing is not the only love of my life. Like, I'm very monogamous when it comes to like human relationships, but when it comes to business, I'm like, oh, daddy, I want to have fun. Like, let me go out there and fall in love a million times and be okay with that. I don't need to be in the societal conditioned lifestyle of the 1950s where I only love one thing and I have to stick with it for the rest of my life. I don't believe in that. Again, another thing I don't believe, because I have so much creativity and love to give in such a way that I know that another part of like my big brand is my throat chakra. I'm very like, I'm expressive in my throat. I'm expressive in the way that I do art. I'm expressive in my storytelling. That's like one of my strongest attributes, because I've really healed so much of my survival chakras, my first three chakras, and my heart, my self-love, and then being able to speak in the way of conviction. That's, I had to heal all these parts of myself first in order for me to be and do and have who I am, want, and all that good stuff. So it's like, we want to be, when it comes to a brand, we're building a unique, recognizable identity. So you have to know who you are. That's very fucking important. It's very important. And so it's like, how do we create that identity? We focus on the emotional experience, the personality, your values, the visuals, the stories that inspire people to buy, the stories that inspire people to move. And in order for people to move and buy again and again and again, people become loyal to brands. They don't become loyal to businesses. A business is like, one of my mentors, Victoria Washington, she talks about this a lot. She talks about like toilet paper. And she's like, that's, I'm a business and I have a toilet paper business. But the brand, like Charmin, like, ooh, that's nice and thick and it leaves me nice and clean and I don't need a lot of paper towel rolls, so I'm saving the planet and all this stuff. Like, that's the brand. I'm committed to the Charmin brand because it's so nice. It's like, as a tattoo artist, we all have our paper towel choices, right? Like, I could be in a business of paper towels, but my paper towel of choice is Brawny. I like a good brawny man because like it's not too thick. Like Bounty's like too thick for me, And I also love Brawny because it's just like, I don't know. There's something about like a sturdy, really good wipe, and when it comes off and the ink comes off all nice like and everything, and then when I put a lot of liquid on it, it like stops me. It's just there's a reason why we love it, so we have to understand why we love it and why I'm loyal to it. I'm like, I know the difference. I remember getting some paper towels in the mail, my assistant, and when I had my old shop, and my sister was telling me, I was like, actually, I like Bounty, and then I started like using it over, and I was like, actually, I don't like Bounty. I realized I don't like Bounty, and so it's like, we're in the business of tattoos. I'm a tattoo business, but my brand is my style. It's like who I am, what I do, what I believe in. Tattoos to some people are just tough stickers. Tattoos to me, definitely tough stickers as well, but they're energetic transformation from one person to another. I've literally put my own medicine, my artistic medicine on someone that they get to keep for life. And that is something that they'll be reminded of every single day of that life, of that experience that I've offered to them through my own modality, through my own medicine. That is art. And I look at all of my stuff as art. So like my coaching business, I have a coaching business. I'm in the coaching industry. I'm in the tattoo industry. Those are my businesses. But my brand is who I am, what I do, what I believe in it. You're here because something I'm saying resonates with you in some capacity. And that's why you're here and you're listening and you feel like, okay, yeah, I believe in what she says because her beliefs match my beliefs. That's a brand. You become loyal to the visuals, the values, the personality, the emotional experiences. Businesses are built through the logical mind. Brands are developed through the expression of the body, and businesses are developed through the logic of the mind. Okay? So it's all logic. Business is like unemotional. It's unattached. It's like straight up. That's why when people get so like emotional about the business aspect of it, it's like, well, where are your contracts? Where are your non-disclosure forms? What does it say? You know, it was like, for me, for instance, I could feel myself getting so frustrated with my landlord, feeling like it was unfair that I was being charged all of these things. But then when I called a lawyer and had him read me the lease, I was like, oh damn, my naivety had me sign a lease that definitely screwed me in the long run. So at the end of the day, was I upset? Of course, like my human gets a little upset, but I also was like, but I did sign this and now I know better. Like I was naive to sign something like this. I was told like everything was okay. This is whatever, you know, whatever led me to the decision to sign a thing. And I like now for, you know, I've been so on top of the way that I like look at contracts, the way I sign things. I have contracts for everything. I have non-disclosure forms for everything. Everything is stated in there just in case. Like I want to save my ass, but that's also because it's the non-emotional, it's the logical part of my business. So the biz strategy isn't concerned with building a strong emotional connection. So although I have a good relationship and rapport with my landlord, and although I was able to voice what I thought was unfair, and she heard me and she was really kind about it, she was like, I hear you. Here's the contract. And I was like, I see, I'm an idiot, you know, and that's on me, and I can take personal responsibility for that. And I don't have to be mad at the situation. I could be mad at myself, but at the end of the day, like now I know and I learned, and that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as a fail. I'm like, cool, I learned. But so now it's like I can take the emotional aspect out of it. Like there's no emotion in the biz strategy. It's not concerned with emotional connection. The brand is. So why we want to build a beautiful brand identity, this is like the first part, is so that people become loyal. So we can get random strangers off the internet to becoming soulmate clients. Buyers buy from emotional experience. Like I talk a lot about this in Booked Out, my launching program for tattoo artists, how to get booked out. I talk about how it really, what it means to move people, to have people move in the direction toward you, to become loyal to that. How we create how we move the luxury buyer within someone, because everybody has one, right? Like if you've heard my other podcasts, I talk about the luxury buyer within them. Everybody has a luxury buyer within us. Like some of us will buy Louis Vuitton bags, others will be like, no way. But it's like we buy off emotion. We don't buy, especially when it comes to luxury items like tattooing or coaching or whatever it might be. These things are not bills. Most things that we buy that aren't bills are bought based off emotion. Ooh, it's time to talk about InkSpired Academy. Sorry to interrupt the podcast episode, but I gotta give you a little something because I absolutely love this program and I'm so excited that it's going to be opening up for fall semester. So let's just paint the scene here. You're like on your way to the tattoo shop. Your phone notifications are blowing up with all the tattoo inquiry emails you've been receiving. You walk into your studio so stoked to be tattooing a full day in the style you fucking love, and you're feeling stress-free, baby, because you are booked out months in advance with soulmate clients. So booked out, in fact, you have decided to raise your prices and charge what you know you're worthy of, which allows you so much time freedom and balance in your business, which takes you and leads you to what? Traveling the world, 6-figure years, creating a community of soul-aligned humans, opening up your own shop, making passive income streams, brand collaborations, sponsorships. Yes. InkSpired Academy is my 10-week training of live trainings and pre-recorded trainings on literally how to build a foundation of a business that can take you to all of these heights. It's what I use every time I'm restructuring my business, anytime I have a new vision, every time I'm ready to hit the road and keep going on the up and up. This is what has facilitated over $500,000 years. 100K in my business has helped me open up my passive income streams as education, coaching, and tattoo shops. So I'm telling you, this is for you if these are the things that you see in your future. And if you would like to learn more about it, you can either DM me on the IG, or you can click the link in the show notes and get yourself some. We are now in early bird. We are ready to take you on. You're getting like over $300 off. Plus, you get a $666 value of my booked out program, which is a program all about how to turn community into clients, make them move, creating that urgency, how to create launches around your books, save you so much time on social media as well, which we get into a little bit in InkSpired Academy, but this one we get really in deep, and you get to have that for free. So if you're in, you're in. I can't wait to see you in there. So the biggest thing in brand strategy that brand strategy does is it sets the tone and engages the imagination with people. And you're going to have to engage your imagination within yourself in order to engage with someone else's. Okay, so most people think the business sells things. No, it's the brand that sells things. We have a product. That product, you just posting tattoo photo after tattoo photo, that's a business strategy. You're like, okay, I got to post all my tattoos to make sure people know what the business looks like, what I'm selling, that's the product. But the tattoo may sell itself a little bit, but over time, having had conversations with with the higher scale artists that I work with, the ones that, are very well known in the business, they are starting to see the dwindling of bookings, and they come to me for help with this because of the fact that they're noticing that like things are shifting. The way that people are buying, the buyer psychology behind what's going on in the industry and what's going on, when people are buying, people are just getting smarter. They're just getting more mature. They're just understanding like, wow, I can actually take my time and buy something and save money and go to this person or whatever. I can actually get to know this person and see if I want to sit with them for 8.5 hours a day. I don't have to just get like a collector's item piece. Some people like that. They're like, cool, I have a collector's, like I have artists that I want to get my collector item pieces from, but I also have my loyal artists that I go to for all my other stuff. So you've heard that before, and as a tattoo collector, you've heard probably, if you're a tattoo collector listening to this, then you know this. And if you're a tattoo artist, you've probably heard your tattoo collector saying this. It's like, yes, I have my pieces that I want to get from, and then I have my loyal artists that I'm loyal to. I have the artists that I'm loyal to that I get most of my pieces from. Normally, it's someone they found in town, someone they can just go to, someone they trust, someone they know that if they give them a vision, they're going to execute that vision in a design so good and juicy that they're just like, yep, this is for me. So people are loyal to brands. They're not loyal to businesses. If they're loyal to the business, they're just loyal to collecting tattoos, then that's a different vibe. But then they're loyal to quality. So the quality of the brand, right, and the quality of the tattoo and the quality and ethics behind that tattoo, the quality of the identity of who makes that tattoo, people are going to be loyal to what those people believe in. If someone's doing a lot of horror tattoos, you're going to probably get someone that's like, yes, I love horror movies, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So if your product isn't telling its own story already, if the tattoo isn't weaving the visual branding, if your tattoo isn't weaving a story within it visually, then you don't have a strong brand identity. Because in the branding, a brand identity and a brand strategy, you have to have good visuals. You have to constantly be telling stories. We are natural storytellers. We are meant to be telling stories. That's what we're here to do. If your tattoos aren't telling those types of stories and it's just, types of sticker type of tattoos, then your brand identity, it falters. So, those people, right? You follow those artists out there, right? Where it's just like all tattoo pages. And we notice that. We see them all tattoo pages, but their tattoos are so pristine and they're so good. We have, there's one guy who does these tattoos where it's like half illustrative or cartoon and half black and gray realism. Or there's the ones that look like stickers, or there's the patchwork types, or there's the glitter types. You know, they are showing, they're presenting a story within their tattoos. Now that they've created this story within their tattoos, they're making it known. You're starting to see a lot more people starting to go glow up in those areas. You're like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I want to start creating stories like that too. So you start to notice that there are other people doing very similar styles. You can tell which is who, especially if you follow this person a lot. So why it's so important, and why I'm starting to like notice that some of my more well-known artists are like, why is this happening? What's changing in the industry? It's because people are starting to realize, and they're getting more mature, and they want to get to know who they're getting tattooed by, especially if they're going to be investing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into their body, right? It's like going to, you know, if I'm gonna go get my boobs done, you know, I'm gonna want to research the doctor a little bit before I let anybody inside my body. It's the same thing with a tattoo. It's like people are realizing, oh, I can research and make sure that this person's right for me. You know, that's why there are people that, you know, fly all over the world to go see some of these other people. It's sort of like, for me, I've had like my furthest was like Australia. I'm like, you know, they're like, oh my God, I love your work, but I love who you are. And that's the point. So the brand identity is super duper important. And how we create a really beautiful brand identity, especially if you're using social media. If you're using social media, in which we all are, so don't even play like you're not. It's a big part of our business. Social media is a big part of your business. So don't get it twisted. Social media, you got to do. If you're going to cry about doing social media, then get a social media manager that understands who you are well enough. But you need to understand yourself well enough to know how to direct your team into creating this brand culture. So we have the brand strategy, right? So in the brand strategy, we have to have a really recognizable and unique brand identity. And that brand identity is going to create brand culture within your business. Because as we grow, we're going to need a team. I have a team of 2. We're going to be going on to a team of 3 really soon here for my entire business. And so if I'm going to I need help with building the visuals of my business. I am willing to invest money into a person that helps me create beautiful visuals in the way that I want them to be created. But if I'm just going to, hire a social media manager and just let them go willy-nilly and just be like, here, post some videos, post some tattoos, cool. That's not going to work, because that's not a strong brand identity. We are talking about how committed you are to your 6-figure year. Well, baby, if you are a multi-passionate artist or a creative entrepreneur who feels it is in their soul that they were going to change the world, that they have life-changing work within them, and is ready to take their business to the next level, my VIP Inner Circle is open to you, baby. This is not some ordinary business coaching experience. We are creating badasses and CEOs, creatrixes all in one, and this can't only be done based on intuition. This is my closest hands-on coaching experience where you will learn how to get aligned as fuck with your passions, building a business with multiple and passive income streams, diversifying your product suite, which is your art, your education, your merch, your coaching, your programs, refining your personal brand strategy and identity, organizing and automating your systems, growing a team, more soulmate clients, and soulful sales. This is a 6-month opportunity and experience to elevate your business strategy, to find balance and follow in your highest alignment through it all. So if you are looking to heal through your blocks, your limiting beliefs and shadows that are stopping you from reaching your goals, then this is for you. Go ahead into the show notes, sign up for the application, and get a connection call with me, and we can decide on whether or not this is for you. And if it's not, I can point you in the right direction. That's the best part. We get to see if it's meant for both of us. So I can't wait to do life and business with you. I am loving on you. Link in the show notes to apply today and book that connection call. Now is the time. Let's get back to it. We need to understand, this is the reason why, like, in InkSpired Academy, I teach people how to really get clear about who they are, because it's going to create the recognizable, unique identity of your brand. You will, when you know yourself so well, you've created that solid fucking foundation, you are going to only build a beautiful house and a beautiful business on that solid foundation. If that foundation is not solid and you don't know who you are, or at least in the desire to get to know yourself, because we do shift and change. My identity has changed a million bajillion times, but that's because I desire up-levelments every day in my leadership and in my brand and in my business. So I'm going to always be shifting and morphing and changing, but my core values, what I believe in, only get stronger when that happens. And then if I no longer believe in something and I believe in something else, I shift. You know, if you would have talked to me 3 years ago about how I would handle social media and then and how I would handle it now, the way I teach is totally different. I used to teach only tactics. I used to teach only hashtag strategies, algorithms, all this stuff. Now I'm like, that means nothing, because I started to realize and get to know my audience so well to know what they needed. And that's another thing too. It's like, I'm noticing what they're like. I see what they love. I'm like, oh, even in my tattoos, when I look at it, I'm not just creating another wolf tattoo, I'm creating a story. So when they start to see, like when I talk to my clients and I'm telling them the story that I've created from their email, they're fucking in it. They love that shit. The other day I created a Mozart tattoo, and there's only so many pictures of Mozart on the internet, and none of them were good, and they were all just paintings. And I was like, nope, I'm going to create my own depiction of Mozart. And the way that my client wanted it, he was like, I want Mozart like with a half skull on his face or something, and just like kind of, you know. And so I read the story about Mozart and how like crazy he kind of was and how he died so young and all stuff. So I was like, ooh, what if I created a Mozart that was holding his skull? And, you know, and I'm looking at it from a perspective of all things. I'm like, okay, how can I make sure that the body's going really well and all this stuff? So I'm like, okay, so the story was, for me, I literally created like a visual template, like, you know, for movies, how they create like little visual templates to show you like how they want a scene to go. This is what I do in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at Mozart and he is passionate, yet sold his soul to the devil in order to make this beautiful fucking music. So I want anguish, and I want the expression on his face to have that feeling of like, I'm doing what I need to do and I can't do it fast enough. And so there was like a lot of swirling, you know, piano keys, and his face was downturned looking at this skull, and it was just so passionate. It was so much movement, and there's this story around it. And when I told my client this, he loved it. And so I was like, this is my brand identity. This is what I do. So now I was like, now every story I tell to my clients, what I've created for them, they're like, whoa. And they see how intentional I am with every little element I put into their tattoo. I'm like, this is the reason why I did this, and this is the reason, and this story, and this is how I wanted her facial expressions to look, and this is why I had it this way, and blah, 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 blah. And then now people are like, whoa, she's creating story through her tattoos. I also talk about it online. I'm like, I love the fact that all I get to do is create story on people's bodies. That's what I'm here to do. I'm literally creating like a moving comic strip. You know, I'm telling a story in this way. And that's the whole point. It's like, if I can do that with my tattoos, I do that with my brand. So yes, so now my tattoos are looking like they're really movable. And then I do realism really well. And so it's like, oh, she's moving in realism, and she loves females. I love strong females. Like, that makes sense. I wonder what I portray. You know, it's like, I love strong female faces, and I love culture, and I just love learning about the culture and being a nerd. I nerd out on this shit. So it's like, my clients see that within the visual aspects of my content. And I also have a different demographic, tattoo artists, and I teach a lot of tattoo business and healing. And, you know, I'm a trauma-informed coach. I'm a trauma-informed coach. I'm a meditation coach. I'm doing all of these things because I believe that it's all about moving the energy within the body first in order to understand who we are, so that we can make moves in the human realm and the human material world and move in alignment. And so that all weaves into my tattoos as well. So there's like this sacred, unique, recognizable identity when you land on my page. And there are several diversified ways on how you visually can digest what it is I'm offering in the form of content. So do you hear what I'm saying? So the brand strategy is creating that identity. Now, the business strategy is about, it talks mostly about the operations of the business, right? And this is also very important. But most people are like, we think of it as one and the same. So business speaks to the operations of the business and the direction of the business. So my direction is the number. Okay, I want to hit $1 million, right? That's the direction. I believe I can do it. I know I'm capable of doing it. Let's reverse engineer, blah, 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 blah. So where's the business headed? This is the product development. This is like all of the coaching I get and mentoring I get to make sure my product is good. So what? I invest lots of money from, to business coaches, to tattoo mentors, to programs, to all of the things above to make sure that the product that I'm developing is quality product. I don't forget that. Okay, you guys, like, you can't be a tattoo artist this day and age and fuck quality. It's just not going to work out for you. There are too many tattoo artists in this game that are so fucking good at what they do because they spend so much time, money, energy, and attention on the quality of the thing that they're producing. Product development is huge. Business speaks to the pricing. Of course, business speaks to the pricing. I price it at this, so I know that I can scale it at this. I'm pricing it at this because this is how many hours I'm spending on XYZ, and this is how many hours I spend on this, and this is how many hours I spend on this, so this is the reason why I should charge this, because if I divide it all up, in one of my last podcast episodes, I was talking about pricing, very simple, where it's like, oh, what are we pricing? What is the value of what we're pricing? What is the value of the product? So the product, I'm pricing it at, if I'm like, oh, I'm only charging someone 8 hours for a tattoo and I'm charging them $100 an hour, I'm making $800 an hour, but I'm $800 a day, but let me divide that 8 hours with not only the 8 hours I worked tattooing, but also the 5 hours I did designing, the 2 hours it took for me to put the design on and off of them, just in case you only charge from needle to skin, from the time the person gets needled and not from the time the person walks in the door or the time the appointment starts. So it's like, okay, so now all of a sudden I have 8 plus 5 is 13 plus 2 is 15. Let me divide $800 that I made that day into 15. That's my real hourly rate. So if that hourly rate doesn't match you, then we got to move forward. We got to move on to that. We got to up level. So that's business strategy. That's speaking about the business. And it's also the channel distribution is what one of my mentors likes to call it. She calls it channel distribution, which means all the social medias and how we use them. So I choose which channels I use to share my art in the diversified ways that I do it. On podcasts, obviously, I'm talking a lot. I'm very strong throat chakra. I have a lot to say because I have conviction to say it, because I believe in what I have. I believe in my brand. I believe in my business. I believe that I help facilitate transformation in the lives of so many other entrepreneurs, as well as helping facilitate transformation in the so many lives of tattoo collectors. I believe in that so wholeheartedly that you can't shake me from it. And if someone wants to call me any names on that, it doesn't matter, because it rolls right off my back, because my beliefs are stronger than anybody's judgments, because I see it time and time again and I see the evidence in it. So what channels I use? Social media. I use podcasts. I use Instagram. I use TikTok, and I do have a Threads. I do have a YouTube, but I also understand who I am. And I'm like, I also understand myself as a human, and I'm like, where is my energy best served? So this is why it's so important that it's not only about strategy, it's so much more. There's the emotional, there's the identity work, and then there's also the quantum and the energetic work. Like, where's my energy going? Do I really need to be on all platforms? No. Or can I 10x it? Can I be so qualitative in the things that I'm doing that my attention, although only is focused on certain things, my attention nearly only goes really to Instagram and podcasting. I have a YouTube, my podcast goes there. I have a TikTok, my assistants work on that. They do that one. Because I know that like my TikTok is mostly for tattooing. So that's where I'm like, okay, I'm going to only focus my brand on tattooing, the tattoo brand, the tattoo business, the tattoo business on this platform. How I show up in that platform will be the branding of the identity of the tattoo artist Reese. Instagram is a little bit of both. I have my tattoo collector and my tattoo artist demographic, and I talk about both. That's really where I'm nurturing my place. I'm gaining visibility on TikTok. I'm nurturing on the Instagrams, and I am further developing relationship on podcasts because it's longer form content. So I have strategies for the business on what channels I'm on. But the brand strategy is different. I'm creating emotional connections on the TikTok, but how am I doing that? I'm doing that through the tattooing, through the storytelling of tattooing. How am I doing that on IG? I'm doing that through different visual aspects and different visually telling stories of how the all-encompassing mission of mine is to, really shift your pain into power, whether that's through tattooing, whether that's through emotional healing, whether that's through emotional healing for your business to up level. Like that's like the overarching mission is to raise the level of consciousness on this planet through that. So that's, so I have that. And then the next, obviously, the last business thing is like revenue. We have revenue for a business strategy. So there's a difference between the business and the brand, and make sure you understand that. And so when it comes to what's, like the reason why we have these two differences and the reason why we have to speak to these two different things is so that we can make sure that we're right in the game for it. So if I'm thinking about brand, I'm thinking about emotion, I'm thinking about the body, I'm thinking about how I make people feel. When I'm thinking about the business, I'm thinking of development, I'm thinking of prices, I'm thinking of the direction of where the business is going. And so when we can separate those, we can really make really sound plans on the directions we're going with either. Now, I won't go any further into this just because of the fact that I'm like, ooh, I can talk about this all day. But this is a big thing that I teach in InkSpired Academy. It's my 10-week long course that I'm so excited about reopening for fall. I open it twice a year, fall and spring semester, basically. And so it's just like, here we get to the nitty gritty of the tactical aspects, because the how is so many hows. There's so many hows on how to do something. And there's so many ways, like I talked about with tattooing, there's so many processes that if I were to try to explain it all here, it would just not make any sense. And so this is why I'm like, here, let me explain this. And then if you want to dive deeper, we have InkSpired Academy. We also have my one-on-ones. If you're like, I really want hands-on, I want to go faster, farther. I don't want to do no program. I'm ready for Reese to just hear what my business is. Here's the vision. Help me. We got that too. So for now, I hope that was so super supportive. And I'm hoping that like you guys can start to really depict you can literally list them out. Like for me, the way I do it is like, I'm like, here, let me take one side. This is the brand and this is the business. Let me list these things out. You can literally take notes on this and then just start speaking into, okay, what is the direction? What is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? And then start to really feel into what it is you feel in your body, what you want to do. But by doing this, it will show you the next level of commitment you are to that 6-figure year. And what's really great about it is that it also gives you a little bit of direction on how to handle it. Because when I think of a 6-figure year, or when I think of $1 million year, that sounds overwhelming. But when we can break it down into literally 2 things, we broke it down. We have the first level, which is like the foundation, getting to know ourselves. And then we branch off into 2 directions of brand and business strategies. and then listing those out and being able to take it from a bird's eye view and say, okay, wow, now I have some direction. I have a map. I have a formula to create the map and the how and the way I want to do this from my highest alignment. So I love you guys so much. I hope this was super, super, super duper supportive for you. And I'll see you in the next episode.